closer from victims. You might bite someone and then you think, oh, those are some nice pants. Welcome to the Pixel Pop Movie Podcast. I am your host this fortnight, Toby. I am joined with, likes to sort of eat fish and chips in the Bay of Plenty, Barney.
Oh, cheers, that's me.
No, I said Barney. No.
Oh, I thought you said me. You cut out from here.
Did I? Okay, so yeah, no. But it's good. Well, come on, Bay of Plenty has to be like Barney because it rhymes.
All right. Okay.
Can I have that? All right.
Yeah, all right.
All right, but Ethan, you can be probably eating way more like, seafood from the ocean than you should.
No, that ain't me. Fuck that shit. Fuck that.
Or how about, and I'm joined by, got a cigar, your shoes, bro? Ethan.
Yeah, it's more like it. It's my hometown.
All right, so obviously our topic of conversation this fortnight is New Zealand films. We thought, being that both Ethan and Barney are from New Zealand, we might talk native films, because there's been some really amazing stuff coming out of there in the last sort of 10, 20 years, but there's been a few gems in days gone past too, so we might touch on them. We're also going to do
shit too.
Some very big budget shit.
No, I mean a bunch of shit.
Oh, yes,
a bunch of shit.
Oh, and some, yes, definitely. But, and like Avatar.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Avatar was filmed over
What
there.
the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, you did that. You did. I blame you. Anyway, before we
you
get into...
me?
Yep. Before we get into abuse, though, we've got we're going to do some spoiler-free Shazam, because it only just came out, and I figured, it's probably a little too soon for spoilers. So, again, Barney and Ethan have both seen it, so they're going to let you know what they think. And then before all that, we've got this fortnight's news. So let's start with that. Please take us away, Ethan.
This bit of news we got today is a big casting rumour. This isn't confirmed, but it also comes from the Hollywood Reporter, so this is a pretty good source. And that's Angelina Jolie is in talks to join the Eternals movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Because she looks a lot like one of the Eternals, too.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
No, she does. There's one of the female Eternals, looks very similar. So she'd fill the role, I guess.
I mean, she already has a good working relationship with Disney from Maleficent. So, why not?
Yeah. Do you also see the rumours that were flying? I know they were just rumours, speculation, nothing official at all. But there was a lot of sort of discussion about the potential possibility of Hercules coming into the MCU with Eternals.
Yep. They're going to make... Because Hercules is a character, they're going to possibly turn him into an Eternal for the movie.
Which that's very rumoury at this stage.
Yeah, I have seen very rumoured, a lot of casting rumours. And one of them was Luke Evans is apparently up for the role of Hercules.
Yeah.
Just as heavy rumours, nothing confirmed.
Yeah, nothing confirmed yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's possibly going to filming this year, I think. Which I'll touch on. I'll also do the news now. Well, this part anyway. Australia will be the host to a second Marvel film to be filmed here. It'll be filmed at Fox Studios Australia in Sydney. Now that Disney now owns Fox, they have the rights to use that studio now. It's unconfirmed which one it could be. It could be one out of three, which is the Eternals, Shang-Chi, and Black Widow. It's one of those three will be filmed here.
Yes, actually, I wasn't... I'm thinking there might have even been a follow-up piece that said it was Shang-Chi or whatever.
Yeah, Shang-Chi is apparently one of the... Because the thing is, they haven't done casting for Shang-Chi, but apparently the movie will start filming here this year. But there are rumours that a character in Spider-Man Far From Home is actually Shang-Chi. They just haven't announced it yet.
Right.
So I guess maybe after that comes out, they'll officially announce the cast or something like that, and then they'll announce it's filming.
Now, wasn't there some news, too, with Eternals that Kumail Nanjiani was in talks to star as well?
Yeah. Was also in talks to star in it.
So it's all... Eternals is definitely sort of happening.
And I think Eternals might actually be their way of introducing mutants into the MCU as well.
Well, there was also some implied rumours that this might be the introduction of the MCM as well, which is, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse.
It could be. So, yeah.
Or will we see that in Endgame? Or will we not see it at all?
Maybe. We might not see it at all.
Have to wait.
And the last bit of Marvel news to round this out is Black Widow has now casted David Harbour, who you'll know from Stranger Things and the upcoming Hellboy, which releases this week, and possibly Rachel Weisz. She's in talks. She's circling a deal. She hasn't signed on like David Harbour has, but she's getting pretty close to it.
Right.
So that's two big ones. That's
I think it's sort of they seem to be going for. You can see what's happening if you look at the sort of the female casting here. Like they're clearly casting other assassins.
Yeah, or Florence Pugh, who has been seen recently in Fighting with My Family. She played the role of Paige. She's been cast as a rival spy to Black Widow.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of really lithe, almost pale kind of, women. So it should be interesting. It's a good cast.
Next we have Taika Waititi and Erkash Amdekar, I think is how you pronounce his name, have joined Ryan Reynolds and 20th Century Fox's Free Guy. Free Guy is about, I think it's a movie about how he's a background character in a video game who wants to break out. I think that's what the movie was based on.
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds is the star. This would be Taika and Ryan Reynolds joining up again since their disaster in Green Lantern. This would be a great way for the two of them to redeem themselves, and I'm sure they've already done that with their respective films thereafter.
Yes. I mean, Barney loved Green Lantern. He watches it at least every month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was some there, so why not?
I feel like that's some unfounded rumors.
That you started?
I started?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I tell enough people, it becomes fact, right?
Yeah, so it goes.
So you heard it here first, folks, that Barney loves Green Lantern, watches it weekly. Weekly now.
Weekly now, huh?
Weekly.
It's tough to keep up with these rumors.
Right. We'll have to get a website going.
Next we have Jai Courtney has confirmed that he is returning for James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. Now, a whole bunch of news has also come out about this recently, and that is Joel Kinnaman is set to reprise his role as Rick Flag, and Viola Davis will also be back as Amanda Waller. Now, it was reported that Idris Elba had been cast to replace Will Smith as Deadshot. Well, that is not true now. Idris Elba will be playing some other character.
So is Will Smith coming back?
Not for this one. He can potentially come back later on.
Isn't it? It's like it's not a reboot, it's not a sequel, but it's the same cast and doing the same characters.
Yeah.
Fucking DC.
I don't understand this.
I know.
Like, did they just not like how the first one...
Pretty much.
What?
We'll just pretend it didn't exist.
Yeah.
So what, they're gonna do the same thing with the same cut? Do they not know what the definition of insanity is?
Nope.
They're not going to have Killer Croc. They probably won't have Katana, and they won't have Deadshot. So they got... And I mean, what's his name? Slipknot, he died in it. So they're going to have some different characters.
Yeah, great character, that one. It lasted about 15 seconds.
Either, so, yeah. They said it's not a continuation, it's just going to be something new. Which, I mean, if you got Rick Flag and you got Amanda Waller in that in there, and Captain Boomerang, it's kind of going to be a follow-on. And especially with Harley Quinn coming back into it as well. Who knows? But DC's doing their shit. Let's just leave them and see. We'll talk more on DC later. But, yeah. Next, we have Mark Hamill is voicing Chucky in the new Child's Play movie.
This is the MGM one, not the actual Child's Play creator. Yeah.
Which is...
That just makes it even more worse.
Yeah, he also voiced Chucky in Robot Chicken skit like 7 years ago, so...
Yeah.
Going full circle a little bit.
Yeah. I... kind of a little apprehensive about this. Just because his voice is so noticeable.
Joker?
Well, yeah.
It's probably going to sound really Jokerish, I reckon.
No.
Going into trailers, we had a trailer for Annabelle Comes Home, the third Annabelle movie, with also the return of Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson.
White lie, didn't watch it.
You didn't?
No, but then I didn't watch the second Annabelle movie, let alone the trailer for the third, so... I probably should at some point, but they're not very high on my list of
The second one was a lot
priorities.
better than the first.
Oh, okay, then maybe then I should, because I thought the first one was pretty ordinary.
Yeah, no, the second one's a lot better than the first, and this one's going... They said it's pretty much Conjuring meets Night at the Museum is what this Annabelle movie's going to be about, the new one.
What?
So it's set in the Warrens' home, where they have the whole room full of like all the haunted artifacts. So it's pretty much all of those coming to life. Is pretty much what the plot movie is.
Right. Okay. Because I had a completely different image when you said the museum.
So the movie is
that's still coming out of nowhere.
So the movie's 5 minutes long because they just set fire to the house and leave, right?
I'm sure the spirits want to torment some people. So maybe about 10 minutes.
You just dust off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be shot.
Mate, it's a white family. They're super curious about that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. See? They hear a loud noise, they go investigate. They ain't gonna turn around and run the other way.
So you're telling me if it was a Maori family, they just look at it and go, nope, fuck that shit.
Yeah. Fucking A.
Fair enough then. Moving on.
We had a trailer for a new Netflix original, and I mean original, and this is The Silence.
I'm sorry.
Which is it's kind of like Bird Box meets A Quiet Place in a way. It's kind of like that.
It's just, I mean, I like some of the casting, but this is a cash-in, and
yeah. Well, apparently it's based on a book from a guy, and he wrote the book before A Quiet Place was even a thing. Apparently, I think from what it was, and he tried to say that A Quiet Place and that ripped off his book a while back.
Right.
If I'm thinking of the right one.
So to shut him up, Netflix just paid him some money for the rights for his book as well.
Probably. I'm just having a look now.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see the trailer in the article that goes with this podcast, but I mean, so some of the casting's not bad, but it's just, it's been done. And it's been...
Okay, you apparently wrote the book in 2015.
And these things, like, it's not like they've been 5 years apart, like, it's just been bang, and then the next one bang, and then it's, it's too much.
Well, the lead character is also deaf. Didn't know that. Werewolves. So that's just more into...
Werewolves.
Yes, werewolves, Toby.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
It's not spoiled. It's stated, apparently.
Well, some people don't even want stated.
Alright, well, you're not going to watch it anyway.
No, I'm not. But I'm not everybody.
Yeah, see?
I'm not everybody.
Sucks for those people.
It does.
We had a trailer for Chernobyl, a new HBO TV show. I did not watch this trailer.
I did, because I find the topic interesting. Of course, I was actually alive when that happened, unlike you, because you were born 2 weeks ago. The thing that disappointed me with this is that it doesn't have a Russian cast. Dogs? No, this is not Stalker. No, it's like if you've watched Das Boot and it's an all German cast, it's authentic. It's enjoyable to watch because of that. It's sort of like, I guess, you get people screaming about whitewashing of Asian, like Japanese films and stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like, if it's a Japanese film, you kind of want it in Japanese with Japanese cast. Well, it's the same sort of thing. Like, this is about Russians, well, they were Russia then, they're now part of the Ukraine, but, doing Russian things, and it's just sort of like, you got a Scottish guy and a British guy, and they're playing Russians, but they've got these accents, and it just... I would have just... It looks really good, and I will watch it, but I just would have really liked an all-Russian cast.
Yeah, British is closer than American.
It is, but still. That's just my pet peeve. But yeah. Apart from that, it looks good.
Next, we had a TV spot for Disney's Aladdin. Mm-hmm. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just about to say that's about it.
Now, there's one that Toby posted. Now, I'm unsure if this is an April Fool's joke because it did land on the 1st of April.
Yeah, we got to be careful with a few of these.
Shaun the Sheep 2 Farmageddon.
Yeah, there's a few of these you got to be careful of, so... Like,
I didn't know there was a Shaun the Sheep 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, but yeah, there was a few things that we would like, oh, that's some neat news, and then it's like,
Okay, not April Fools. There you go. Shaun the Sheep 2 Farmageddon is happening.
There you go. Looked pretty good. The trailer looked pretty good.
They just need to fuck Shaun the Sheep off and just give me back some more Wallace and Gromit and I'll be happy. That's all I need.
Some Postman Pat.
No, fuck Postman Pat.
Some Noddy.
Fuck Noddy.
Noddy can fuck right off, hey.
Fuck Noddy.
What's wrong with Noddy?
Everything.
He is way too happy.
He's a naughty little fuck.
Too happy.
What about what was the little fucking penguin called? Newt.
Pingu. Oh, Pingu. Fucking Pingu's the best.
Isn't he dead?
Give me a Pingu movie before I die, please.
Fucking A. Fucking Newts in chat, boys.
Oh.
Anyway, moving on. And then out of nowhere, like crossing a road and then getting hit by a fucking...
nowhere. I knew about this one.
A B triple Mack truck to the face. The dead don't die. Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, Selena Gomez, Iggy Pop. Everyone went, this has got to be a frickin' April 1st joke. What's the skinny?
No, it's not. It is an actual movie.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yep.
Everybody's in this thing.
Yep.
And it looks good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Like, if you haven't seen the trailer, watch the trailer because it looks really good.
June 14th.
Oh, that's on my birthday. Hell yeah.
Next year?
No, this year.
This year, Jesus. Wow. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, because it's got Bill Murray, and we all love Bill Murray. Shut up, Ethan. We all love Bill Murray. Shut up, Ethan.
Fuck Bill Murray.
Shut up, Ethan. Shut up, Ethan.
Overrated piece of shit.
Ethan.
Bill Murray is not overrated. He has been liking his zombie films of late, though. He is not.
Yeah. Now we're never going to get sponsored by Bill Murray, and I don't fucking care.
Just because you're a miserable DC fuckboy.
Fucking what?
How does DC and Bill Murray even relate to each other?
I don't. I'm just being antagonistic, all right?
Hey, let's have a look at what Bill Murray's been in that's good.
Everything he's ever done.
Kingpin.
What? Let's look at films that you were in that were good, Ethan. That homemade porn that came out last week. Terrible.
How the fuck do you know about that?
It was a sweet one-man show.
Because I've got my RSS feeds up for you.
It's got like one of you on Pornhub. How the fuck is that you?
Alright, yeah. Watch the trailer. It looks really good. Keen to see this when it comes out. This is going to cinema, is it?
Yep.
Alright, cool.
Oh, I just remembered Bill Murray's best role. And that is Garfield.
Shut up.
Oh, okay. Alright, I'll give you that one.
And Garfield and Garfield 2.
No,
Tale of Two
no. Like, animated, like, shit like that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I've never seen Groundhog Day, so I can't judge on that.
Groundhog Day is an amazing movie.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters,
That's good.
Oh,
Alright, stop now. Stop.
Lost in Translation, All the rest, just looking at him and thinking, overrated.
See, I just muted him. Now we don't have to listen to him talking about trash-talking Bill Murray, because it's just not on.
It's really not on.
Alright, moving on.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Moving on, we have the teaser trailer for Joker.
Can I say, because when this sort of first came along, I was like really hyped for this. And then I like the really early little snippets and leaks. And then I've watched this trailer and I'm like, not so hyped for this. Yeah, other people who were like not on board have seen this trailer and they're like, oh my god, greatest thing ever. So it's really had an impact.
Yeah. Nah, nothing for me.
Yeah, I was curious, but now, like originally it's like fell in a vat of chemicals, I'm the Joker. Now it's just I can't deal with society, so I'm a nutbag.
Yeah, and
one of the reasons why
we live in a society means, by the way.
Yeah, I think the reason why that I don't like this one is because I did actually like Jared Leto's Joker, and I wanted to see more of that.
Well, there's some some muddy rumors going around that he might still be back.
Well, yeah, there was some set pictures shown behind the scenes, leaked pictures of the filming of Birds of Prey, which shows Harley interacting with Joker, and it's unsure if that's Jared Leto because he was currently in England filming Morbius, but he did also post on his Snapchat the picture of a clown to be a little bit cryptic.
Yeah.
So I'm unsure about what's going on.
I'd see, yeah.
I would like to see more. I did enjoy his take on Joker. I thought it was something fresh and new.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of it. So with this Joker movie, I think mostly because I kind of want DC to tie their shit together where they don't want to do that as much anymore, which I guess is probably their winning formula at the moment.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure I'll see this Joker in theaters, but I will definitely watch it on Netflix because I'm curious, but I'm just not hyped anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Moving on to some weirder news, the man who's all about family, Vin Diesel, has joined the Avatar movies.
Yep. Well, there goes his career.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Can we just get the last Riddick film for fuck's sake?
Are we talking about James Cameron?
Man, I wish I had that last Riddick movie.
Let's just need that last Riddick film before he's in a fucking wheelchair. Like, just finish it. For fuck's sake, Finn.
I know. I want it. That's all I want.
So we're talking about like the James Cameron line of Avatar films, right?
Yeah, all 27 of them that are on like...
Yeah. Avatar 2 is slated to hit theaters December 2020. Yeah. Avatar 3 following December 2021. And if those movies do well at the box office, then we'll get Avatar 4, 5, and 6 consecutive years after that.
God, I hope not.
So do I.
Yeah, no. I mean,
James Cameron bitches about Marvel movies and superhero movies fucking taking over. Well, your fucking Avatar movies are going to take over for 5 fucking years, James Cameron. You can fuck off.
I mean, I really enjoyed Ferngully, the Last Rainforest, but with upgraded graphics.
You mean Pocahontas?
Oh, yeah, that too. With upgraded graphics.
Dancing with Wolves.
With upgraded graphics. We
Anyway.
could go all day, really.
We're really good.
Hey, you reckon like Vin Diesel might bring like his fucking American muscle car to like Pandora and then like transfer his consciousness into his body, and that's
Oh
like
my god,
it's-
Vin Diesel
no.
has a car? I
No,
would
no.
watch the shit out of that.
He's
So
Diesel Diesel.
I got it. The locals, what are they called? The Na'vi or whatever?
Yeah, Navi.
Right, they get so pissed off with the humans that they put out a call, and then Riddick comes down and just fucks everybody up.
Hey, don't raise my hopes like that. Don't
Right,
raise my hopes
it's
like
just 2 movies of Riddick fucking people up.
He drops down with a couple buckets full of Corona and he's like, "We're family now. I got your back."
All right, so
And moving on,
apparently,
we have Netflix's live-action Cowboy Bebop adaptation has casted John Cho, who you'll know from Harold and Kumar and the Star Trek movies as Sulu, who will be playing the lead role of bounty hunter Spike. Alongside him will be Luke Cage Season 2 star Mustafa Shakir, who was the villain. He'll be playing his best friend Jet Black. And Daniela Pineda of the originals will play the female lead Faye Valentine. With British stage actor Alex Hassel will take on Vicious, who is the villain.
I really like that casting.
There's also rumours that they've casted a husky instead of a corgi for the dog, which has more fans upset.
I've never watched the thing on the original.
Neither have I. It's on my radar to like watch it. I've been meaning to get into watching it at some point. It's kind of like anime Firefly, from what I've heard. Really,
yes, it is
Yeah.
very much like a cult classic among animes. Like it's really up there.
Okay. Speaking of anime,
Next, we have Leonardo DiCaprio, who is producing this movie, Akira, based
Akira.
on the anime movie.
yeah.
Is the live-action adaptation of it is getting a 18.5 million tax credit from the California government to film there. We have 160 days from now to begin filming the movie.
I
To at least start
remember
filming it.
watching the original English translation of that film in like 94 or 95
Yeah,
on VHS
it's very
tape,
old.
on VHS, and
It is brutal.
I didn't understand a fucking thing because it was the worst English translation. Like, it was so bad they re-released it years later with a whole new English translation. It made no sense. It looked good, and there was some Tron bikes, but nobody understood the fuck was going on.
Apparently, it'll film over 71 days, and it was 180 days it must start production. Sorry, and the director is still set to be Taika Waititi.
Interesting.
He's been attached to it for like the past year, maybe 2 years, but it's still underway that it's going to be him.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he is a great director.
Apparently, it's a passion project for him as well.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Akira was never a comedy, so it'd be interesting to
It's
see
not
how
a comedy.
he
It's
handles
not much of a comedy or a
serious
drama. It's
science
it's
fiction.
much more of a science fiction thriller.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Thor 3. I mean, all he's got to do is dump the comedy and make it more thrillery.
Dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Dark. Yeah, I think he can do it.
And I think a while back when it was still in development, it was supposed to be either Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Chris Evans were supposed to be the leads. That was a long time ago. They had a bunch of concept art come out for it and all that sort of thing, so they probably won't be, but yeah.
But
See how it goes.
again, with like all things like anime going to live action films, like take everything with a grain of salt. Like I am still yet to come across any anime to live action film that is even like decent.
This isn't gonna go down well. They've released a plot synopsis of
For
what
Akira.
it's supposed to be about. Yeah.
Right.
What it says: when a young man's telekinesis is discovered by the military, he is taken and to be turned into a superweapon, and his brother must race to save him before Manhattan is destroyed by his powers. Kaneda is a bar owner in Neo Manhattan who is stunned when his brother Tetsuya is abducted by the government agents led by the Colonel. Desperate to get his brother back, Kaneda joins the Green Kyrie and underground movement who are intent on revealing to the world what truly happened to New York 30 years ago when it was destroyed.
Well, pause.
Kaneda believes their theories to be ludicrous, but after facing his brother again, is shocked when he's taking his powers.
Wait, so he's still called Tetsuo, which is a Japanese name.
Yeah.
But instead of being Neo Tokyo, it's now Neo Manhattan, and it's... Yeah, that's going to piss off some people.
Kaneda believes their theories to be ludicrous after facing his brother again is shocked when he displays telekinetic powers. Kai believes Tetsuya is headed to release a young boy, Akira, who is taking control of Tetsuya's mind. Kaneda clashes with the Colonel's troops on his way to stop Tetsuya from releasing Akira, but arrives too late.
Yeah, all right. Okay. We'll see what happens.
That's gonna piss off a lot of people right there.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that was the whole thing. It was, Neo Tokyo.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about Hellboy.
Yes, Hellboy has received a high R18 plus rating here in Australia.
Yeah.
Which is just for strong bloody violence and gore throughout and some moderate language. That is all.
Yeah, that's coming out, next week, isn't it?
This week.
This week, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. High R18. That sounds good.
Yeah. That's very rare here in Australia.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Oh, it's good to see they're sort of pushing the boundaries with some of these comic book films. It's good.
Next we have Kumananjiani will star in a movie called Any Person Living or Dead. The plot of it says the story follows a brilliant reclusive scientist who, using his homemade time machine, gathers a round table of the greatest minds in history: Shakespeare, George Washington, Aristotle, etc. to solve all of humanity's problems. Unfortunately, his plan fails to take into account language barriers, ancient racism, and the tendency of medieval men to commit murder. Instead of learning from these great men of history, our hero has no choice but to hunt them down and blast them back to the past before they can ruin our future.
So it's basically a film about because there's the old, if you could have a dinner party with anybody dead or alive. So they've taken that idea and then sort of gone, all right, but what would that be like in reality?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, fair enough.
It sounds like Bill and Ted if it was an MA-15 plus movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
But it doesn't sound funny, so I don't know.
We'll see how it goes. Last bit of news we have is Dave Bautista will be the lead in Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead movie for Netflix.
Nice.
So this is Zack Snyder's first movie he's done since leaving the DC movies, and he is very happy because he has full creative control over everything he does with this movie. He's not going to be restricted by productions and companies.
Yes, that'd be good. It'd also be good if Warner Brothers actually released the Snyder Cut. And
not going to happen, unfortunately.
Nice. Speaking of Bill and Ted, just to touch on something that happened last fortnight.
Right.
Because Lucas...
Lucas was...
Excuse me, let me finish.
Bill and Ted shit.
Don't be so rude. Lucas was really keen for William Sadler to return as Death, and it has been confirmed that he will be. So Lucas is happy.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and just as a side tangent too, because we've all known for a long time, or suspected, I guess, that Marvel fiddles their trailers. There was actually some evidence to support this, conclusively recently, where we had the normal version of the trailer for Endgame, and we saw Hawkeye fighting nothing, seemingly, and then the same trailer released for 3D cinemas in the 3D footage, and you could see some of what he was fighting. So it's the same footage. Yeah, it was the same footage, but it just in the regular trailer, the Outriders had been removed. So, it's. I mean, we always strongly suspected that there was, people being deleted and stuff being changed, but that just sort of confirmed it for irrefutably, I guess. All right. So this next bit, I'm not going to have a lot to say because I haven't seen it, but we're going to do some spoiler-free thoughts on Shazam. Or aka Captain Marvel, I guess.
Look, it's Shazam. Just leave it alone.
All right, so
it's been Shazam for a little while now, but
a couple of decades.
Yes, we get the sentiment.
Which of you gentlemen would like to go? Well, Barney, you're all outspoken, so how about you take us away with your spoiler-free thoughts on Shazam?
Go watch it, legit. DC have been upping their game with their movies lately, and I believe that this movie proved that they can do a little bit more than just dark and brooding. So, I really enjoyed this movie from start to finish. Yeah, I would probably go see it again. In the cinemas, it's that good.
Right.
What I would say is that I agree with what Barney said. It's really good. The director of it, David F. Sandberg, previously directed the second Annabelle movie, Annabelle Creation, and I feel like Warner Brothers chose him to do that because he brings certain horror elements into Shazam, which for those that are taking their kids to watch the movie, there are some quite frightening scenes in the movie that are unexpected. So be wary of that.
I believe Jackie mentioned that in her written review on the Pixel Pop site.
Yeah, I mean, the movie's being marketed a lot for kids as well, more so than any other movie, I would say, of the DC. But there are several scenes I'll watch it and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be pretty frightening for kids, definitely under 10, I would say.
I would say it's similar to Venom.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, except this movie's a lot brighter, like, visually. But in terms of, I suppose, like, the action or, like, that's quoted as the scary scenes, it very much reminds you of, like, whenever Venom's out, essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
But yeah, so there are those, for those of you listening who think, oh, I'll take my kids to watch it. Be wary of that. Other than that, it was really, really good. I would rank it second out of all the DC movies.
Now, is this a standalone film, or is it reference? Is it DCEU?
It's DCEU. It definitely makes a lot of references to everything that's happened before in ways.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot of Easter eggs there connecting it to pretty much all the other movies.
There was rumors for a long time too that it was going to be direct, like an actual cameo too.
Is that spoilery? No, go watch it. Find out.
Okay.
Go find out if there's some stuff in there. Go watch it.
Because there was some rumors that there was some Superman footage that might have been filmed for it, and maybe some Wonder Woman. Might have been Wonder Woman.
Might have been Superman. Might not have been nothing at all.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'll rank it second behind Aquaman as the top DC movies.
Right.
Aquaman's still top for me. For me, it goes Aquaman, Shazam, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League.
I'd probably swap Wonder Woman around with Man of Steel, but that's pretty much similar to mine.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of humor throughout that works really well. The action scenes are really well done. His transformations that he does is really well done. The CGI is good as well. It's all around. It's a really good movie.
And there's actually like a good bit of fan service. Like,
there is definitely.
Yeah, if you've ever wanted to see like Shazam, and you're almost at the point where like, oh, they won't do this, they won't do that. It's like, don't count anything out. Do not count anything out. They get pretty close to the comics in some scenes. So yeah.
Yep.
Right.
But no, it's good. Go watch it, Toby.
I will. Well, I'll probably won't watch it at the cinema. Maybe. We'll see how we go. It is school holidays, so it's possible.
Yeah, go watch it. Take your daughter. Go watch it.
Yeah, no, go watch it, Toby.
All right.
Do it.
All right, well, I'm just going right now then. All right, bye. See you.
Yeah, all right.
All right, catch you next fortnight, guys. Yeah, thanks. Okay.
It's all right. See you, Toby.
I'll see you guys. All right, well, we might just do a topic of conversation before I go, all right? And that being this fortnight is New Zealand films, because it's something we haven't touched on. And, we talk about a lot of, what Marvel's doing in Australia and all that kind of stuff, but... And people recognise that being people like Taika and Peter Jackson doing stuff recently, but of course New Zealand film has been around for a lot longer than that. And so we thought we'd sort of dive into that a little bit. We're not going to dwell too much on a lot of the older stuff because, let's be frank, none of us have seen it or are particularly familiar with it. Maybe you guys...
There's a few I want to touch on there.
Yeah, you might have done some stuff in school, perhaps. So I found a Wikipedia page that sort of lists all the New Zealand films. It's probably far from being all of them, but it gives us some insights. And from here, from what I can see, it is the first New Zealand-based feature film was in 1913, and it was Hinamoa, which is now lost, along with a couple other things. And the first one that is on this list that isn't lost is also in that year, called The River Wanganui. So it was mainly documentary stuff, and it looks like it's sort of by some sort of French explorer. But it's mainly that kind of sort of more documentary travelogue stuff for a while. But where were you wanting to kick off? Because the first one on this list that really resumes, but that I really remember well as a young man was in 1985. But if you've got something earlier, The Quiet Earth.
Quiet Earth. I haven't seen it. Mine was 1986.
All right, yeah. So Quiet Earth resonated with me. I watched it. It's a science fiction film that is fairly unique in what it's sort of trying to. It's a case of he's the last man on Earth, and it's kind of weird. And then the ending is just really weird. But it's a good film, and the acting was good. And I watched it on VHS or on TV or something. You can pick it up on DVD for like $5. It's a neat sci-fi film, and it's aged reasonably well because it didn't rely on a lot of special effects. So if you see it on Amazon Prime or something one night, put it on. It's enjoyable.
Is it on there?
I don't know. You were probably going to go to 1986 though for Fortnight Flat's The Dog's Tale.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to go for.
Which I do have on DVD and is a great.
I have it on Blu-ray as well.
Yeah, Murray Ball, rest in peace, I believe too. Paul Murray.
Yeah.
I still watch that every couple of years. I mean, the soundtrack as well is just awesome.
I mean, the next one I was going to go to was 1987, and I'm sure you know which one that is too.
Of course. But before we get to that, Barney, anything around that time frame that you grew up in New Zealand? What were you? Any movies that you sort of remember during that time?
Like Fortnight Flats was definitely like the first one for me.
Yeah.
As for the other ones, I'm looking at it I can't really remember too many of these. I'm sure I might have seen them.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the actual names of them.
Yeah, so of course 87 was the release of Bad Taste from director Peter Jackson, pretty much his premiere feature film, and it took him for ages to make it, I believe, too, like years. And I have that on DVD as well. Great film, very funny.
Yeah, no, Bad Taste was my one. I remember my dad having these on VHS, and I saw them there, and I thought, hey, and my dad told me, this is after Lord of the Rings. And when did Lord of the Rings come out, 99? I think it was after I saw the first one.
It started filming in 99, but it didn't release till whatever it was, 2000, 2001.
Yeah. And I asked my dad, like, can I watch these 3 movies you've got sitting here? And he said, how to the fucking no can you watch those? And I was probably about 8 or 9. And one of those was Bad Taste. And it probably wasn't until I was about 14, 15 I actually watched them. And I watched Bad Taste. And, as budget as they are, they're still really good. You have Bad Taste, good. I'll still go back and watch that now gladly. It is good. The next one, probably 89. Toby will know what that one is.
Well, I was actually, before that, your sort of almost brother-in-law, Chris, put me onto The Navigator and Medieval Odyssey because he remembered watching it as a kid and thought it was, some sort of amazing film that sort of resounded with him. And then I watched it and it was terrible. But it's basically, the premise is they're sort of in like a Dark Ages Earth, and they sort of enter into a cave and go through some mines and then come out in modern day Earth. And they're looking for a cure to the plague. But the trouble is, it's got, I can't remember his name, but old mate from Play School over here in Australia, the Maori chap who was on Play School over here for years. And he's in it, and he's sort of trying to be serious, and I just can't take him serious. Because to me, he's always just, the young fella at Play School. But yeah, terrible film. But I mean, they entered into the Cannes Festival, so I mean, and obviously it impacted someone. Oh, fuck.
The Quiet Earth is on Amazon Prime.
There you go. You should watch it. It's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, of course, 1989, Peter Jackson's back with Meet the Feebles, which there's so many stories about mothers renting this for their children and then coming back in later on to land and going, what the hell?
I saw that, I saw the cover, and I saw all the Muppet-looking characters, and I thought, why can't I watch this movie? I had an argument with my dad, I'm like, why can't I watch this movie? It has Muppets on it, Muppets are alright, and he was very stern in saying, no, you cannot watch this movie for reasons.
Definitely for reasons.
And then when I was 14 and I watched it, I was like, wow, you were right, Dad. There are reasons why I should not have watched this 5 or 6 years ago. Because this is not a movie suitable for kids at all, despite how it looks.
Yep. And of course, Jackson back again in 92 with Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. I think that still has the record for one of the goriest movies ever made.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, classic Jackson, that's how he rolls.
Yep. I think we all know it's that one scene with the lawnmower.
Where he's strapped to his chest. Yeah. Now, of course, again, sort of jumping a few years, but Jackson, again, Heavenly Creatures in 94, which was really a departure.
Well, there was actually one in 93 that I was actually going to talk about.
Yeah.
That's the Tommy Knockers from Stephen King.
Yeah, so US-based production, but it was filmed in New Zealand.
And I watched that.
Yeah,
we had it on VHS, and I had nightmares for several weeks after I watched that. I probably watched it when I was like 7 or 8. Though it came out the year I was born, I probably watched it when I was 7 or 8. And I wanted to watch it. Mum said no. My dad said, no, let him watch it. Teach him a lesson. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And I watched it, and yeah, I was absolutely terrified for a couple of weeks.
Most recently though, you watched Skyline 2, and that gave you nightmares for weeks.
Oh yeah, that still continues to plague my mind because people bring it up all the time, and it's like a disease that's just never going to go away.
Never going to go away. There's no amount of cream for it. So 94 also saw the release of, for me especially, a film that really it just ricocheted around the planet. Like, everyone was talking about this film from New Zealand, and that was Lee Tamahori's Once Were Warriors, which obviously had some pretty graphic portrayals of marital abuse and things like that. But it was also a story of a people with history and what that history meant, and it was a very moving film, and it resonated with a lot of people and for different reasons. So I guess, being of Maori descent, Barney, I mean, how does a film like let's first off say that, like, obviously what happens in this film is not indicative of the Maori people and their lifestyle. It just happens to be about some people who, go through this shit. But being a Maori person, how do you feel about that film? I
think it held a mirror up to essentially the darker side of our, like, once proud culture. It was very bracing to watch, because, like you said, Toby, like, a lot of people aren't like that. But for the time that the film came out, and years prior to it, that's kind of how we were portrayed in the media and the news. And the thing is that they weren't exactly wrong. Was a little bit, might have been taken out of context a little bit, but like the whole tribal mentality of being in a gang is still something that resonates to me, like, today. And it was a deeply moving film there, and every time I watch it since, it's very bracing.
Yeah,
for me.
There's plenty of good stuff to take away from that film too. That, and in a way, it's sort of depicting the Maori lifestyle, like, the large social gatherings, where instead of, like, having a stereo system up full ball, there's someone grabs a guitar and there's singing and all that sort of stuff. That's very, from what I've seen, very much an accurate sort of representation of Maori life, if I'm not mistaken. It's
pretty much, like, bang on. Once the crying and the weeping is done, it's time to celebrate, but you do it in a way that's also respectful.
Yeah, great acting, and it was just it's such a great film, and it did particularly well.
I hadn't actually seen it until about 4 years ago. It's the first time I watched it, and it's one of those movies that everyone in New Zealand talks about.
Yeah,
like, you talk about New Zealand movies, it's instantly one of the first ones, and it's world known for that as well. So I didn't watch it until about 4 years ago, and as I was watching it, I come from a small town is filled with a lot of gang stuff, like was shown in that movie. So watching it all was like seeing my hometown in a way. Like, the hometown's changed a lot since then, but as I was growing up, it was a lot like that. I would see that out there, the stuff that happens in that movie. So not all of it, just some of it though. But it is, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, or thereabouts. Apparently in 2014, a New Zealand survey voted it as the best New Zealand film of all time. So there you go.
Well, I mean, the best stories are the ones that are based in truth.
Yeah, and there's been a few other films that are sort of similar and perhaps in terms of sort of touching on Maori life, and we'll get to those when we get to this list. But yeah, look, that's definitely a pivotal one. And if you've never watched any kind of obviously New Zealand cinema before, that would be definitely one to put on your watch list. And it's definitely it's a bit of a ride. It's definitely a pretty impactful film. Next on this list, for me, is probably another Jackson film in '96.
Yep, for me, The Frighteners.
The Frighteners.
I actually watched that again in the last year, and it's still extremely good. Another movie that terrified the fuck out of me as well, but still very good.
Yeah, I mean, it had American actors in it too, and if I'm not mistaken, though, so it was sort of like
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'm really struggling. What's next? I mean, for me, it's probably not much else happening now to Lord of the Rings, but maybe you know some of these other films?
No, I've heard of Scarface. I've never seen it. That's another big one that was quite popular. I remember my parents having that movie. Not one that I've watched. But no, the first one would be Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring in 2001. That'll be the next one for me.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, look, there'd been some really good films, but this was the one that put New Zealand on the map. And I mean, tourism and just, everything. This film turned New Zealand around in a number of ways. I mean, as I said, New Zealand tourism was one thing, but also like the Weta Workshop in terms of what they could do, with physical props, with CG effects, all that sort of stuff. It really put them on the map, and it helped pave the way for a lot more films to come through the area. So creating jobs and all the rest of it. So it's a big one, and I mean, we don't need to go into it because everybody has seen it.
Yeah.
And then the next year they lined it up with, Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
I haven't seen this, but this sounds interesting. 2002 Tongan Ninja.
Yeah, Jermaine Clement. I haven't seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
That's hilarious. Oh boy, I'd have to see that.
Then you got again Two Towers, and again in 2003 you had Return of the King, along with Last Samurai, another big one with Tom Cruise, and Whale Rider as well. That's another huge one.
Yeah, no, I've heard of Whale Rider. I think
Keisha Castle Hughes scored an Oscar nom, or she won, I think, for it.
Right.
I think. She became the youngest nominee for Academy Award for Best Actress.
And have you seen Whale Rider?
Yeah, we did the whole school I was at took buses and went to the next town to go watch it at the cinema because one of the biggest New Zealand movies.
Right, well, there you go.
Well, I don't know. When did it come out? 2002. I was 9. I don't fucking remember.
I was 9.
I was 9. I don't fucking remember.
I remember watching this movie in the cinema.
I remember
I'm slightly older,
but I don't remember much of it.
This showcased a different side. So, where Once We're Warriors was, I would say, what would happen if you shone a mirror on the Māori's worst traits, I guess. This would be showcasing
the spiritual and belief side.
Yeah, very much the spiritual and belief side. And much more of, showing more of that, much more culture, I would say.
Right. 2004, not a lot there that resonates with me.
Without a Paddle, I've seen that. It's a comedy movie. American actors, but it was filmed in New Zealand.
Right.
Seth Green, Dax Shepard, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, look, it's possibly a B movie, but it's more accurately like a C movie. I mean, Seth Green's basically a C movie actor anyway, so that's kind of what you expected. Yeah.
2005, though, you had King Kong and
Narnia.
Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe.
Yep.
Yeah,
and The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, that was yep. So a few films there. Again, more not really known for being New Zealand films.
So we're moving on to 2006 now.
About to.
We're still on 5, aren't we?
But I mean, you can.
Are we?
You can do more 2005 if you've got something.
Oh no! I thought we basically pointed out everything in 2005, like King Kong, World's Fastest Indian, Chronicles of Narnia.
2006, the only one really for me would be Black Sheep, which I've seen, which was hilarious.
You got a Perfect Creature, which was it's a vampire movie set in an alternate reality and a different sort of universe, parallel universe, where it's in a setting Nueva Zealandia, is what it's called instead. And it's about the first vampire child that's ever been born.
Right.
Vampires are always, people turn into vampires. So this time it was a vampire child, and that's why it's called A Perfect Creature. It was a good movie. It sort of came out of nowhere, but it was kind of around the same time another one came out in Australia, and I can't think of the name of it. They had Sam Neill in it as well, which was all from that movie world. So there's sort of two came out around the same time, and there was a third one that came out a couple of years later, I think in 2008 as well. All around vampire ones, set in New Zealand and all that sort of thing. But A Perfect Creature was really good.
Well, the one for me from 2006 would be Sione's Wedding.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, great comedy and a really good showcase of New Zealand humor.
Yeah.
If you wanted to really see New Zealand's tone of humor, Sione's Wedding is a perfect movie to start with.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but Out of the Blue with Carl Urban was based on
the shooting.
The shooting as well, yeah. And that was mildly controversial when it came out as well.
Yep.
Was it?
But as you said, Black Sheep. I watched it at the cinema. That was a bloody good movie. I enjoyed that one. I was 13. It was the first R13 movie I watched at the cinema. I was pretty happy with that. Back when we had R13s, we don't have them anymore, but there was that.
Well, I didn't know 30 Days of Night was filmed in New Zealand.
Yep. That's the one I was talking about, the vampire one. That's set
I've
during...
watched it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's filmed in New Zealand. They filmed in South Island.
Because it's meant to be in Alaska or some shit, right?
One of those where they... But yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Well, there you go. I didn't know. I've got that on DVD.
It's a good movie. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I just never knew it was New Zealand because it's like all Americans.
Yeah.
So for me, really nothing now until about 2009 with The Lovely Bones.
What do we have? 30 Days of Night.
Fucking Avatar.
2008.
Oh, well, Bridge to Terabithia, like American film shot in New Zealand, but
yeah,
like that was.
Well, you had Eagle versus shit. Sorry.
No, it was a movie that came out at the time. It was very much like steeped in drama, which I usually pass on those, but I think it did critically okay.
I think it did, yeah. We had Eagle versus Shark, which was a comedy. Taika Waititi, I think that's his first movie he directed. Never watched it, but apparently it's really good.
Fair enough.
And in 2009 is Avatar, The Lovely Bones, and all from Peter Jackson.
Yep. Which, I wasn't a huge fan of. It was okay.
Never watched it.
Yeah, I got it on DVD somewhere.
I did remember hearing that Ryan Gosling was supposed to play the father, but they pretty much fired him 1 month before they fucking started filming it because he chucked on a bunch of weight and grew a beard out for the role, and they're like, nah, you look too much like a dad, get away.
2010 has got a film that I keep meaning to watch, and I haven't watched, and everyone says I absolutely have to watch it, and that's Taika Waititi's Boy.
Yep, Boy. It's good.
Yeah, I hear
really
it really encapsulates the whole growing up in New Zealand style of life.
Especially small towns and that. It's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
well, it's
basically my life story. Yeah, my life story.
There you go.
Growing up in the Bay of Plenty.
Yeah. Well, it's like right around the corner from where I grew up. Yeah, around the corner from where I grew up as well. So, yeah. But no, it's good.
Yeah, I have to watch that. So, what comes next for you guys then?
Next, down to 2012, I watched Sionis 2. Unfinished Business.
Yeah. So Sionis 2 was a little different to the first
good.
one.
Yeah. I mean, they had The Adventures of Tintin. It wasn't quite filmed there, but I think it was all done at Weta Workshop, so I don't know if we can quite count that one.
Yeah. I don't think it was filmed anywhere.
Yeah. Well, then you had, after Sionis 2 in 2012, you had The Hobbit. Yeah. Unexpected Journey, the first one.
That can fuck off.
Yeah, I've only seen The Hobbits like once.
I'm happy to go visit Hobbiton and spend my money in New Zealand and tour the country and enjoy it and all the rest of it, but that particular movie can fuck off.
I've watched them all once. I have the extended Blu-rays, but I've never watched them at all.
Yeah, no, I really, going off tangent, but I really didn't like how he did the Hobbit movies. Hey, it just like half the shit that happened in those movies didn't happen in the book. Like he just added it in. Like why? You could have just gone with the book.
Yep.
Well, then next you had 2013 another Hobbit movie. Mm-hmm. 2014 you had What We Do in the Shadows, which was great.
Oh boy!
So
this is a big one.
Ooh. And then apparently Housebound is really good as well. A horror comedy called Housebound is apparently really good.
Okay, haven't watched it. I'll keep an eye out for it.
I did watch The Deadlands, which is about Maldives a long time ago. That was a really weird movie, but it was alright.
Was it sort of like
most old school?
Pre Captain Cook,
Yeah.
So it's just basically people running around eating shit, including the Morioris, right?
And sometimes actual shit, because that was a scene in the movie.
I do love that.
I'm not kidding.
I do love that.
And sort of, I watched that and I'm like, I'm questioning whether or not I want to continue watching this right now.
Well, you know.
But no, we had the third and final part of The Hobbit as well.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Fuck.
I didn't watch anything from New Zealand in 2015. None of those I caught.
No, doesn't ring a bell with me.
Nope. 2016, Hunt for the Wilder People, which was really good. Another one from Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Yep. 17, Nothing, and Nothing in 18. But apparently Mortal Engines is okay.
Yes.
I watched the trailer a while back, but...
A box office bomb, a budget of 100 to 150 million with a box office return of 83 million.
Yeah, nah.
Not including all the marketing put on top of that. Yeah.
And there's others. There'll be others that aren't on that list, and of course we haven't even touched on TV shows. I guess thinking back to your childhood years, is there any TV shows that you grew up with that were filmed in New Zealand that were aired on New Zealand TV?
Shortland Street.
Right. Yeah, that resonate with you.
It's pretty much New Zealand's version of Neighbours and Home and Away, and Coronation Street.
Gotcha. Did you watch that, Barney?
No.
There was another show I watched that came out in the 2010s called The Almighty Johnsons, which was really good. It was about Norse gods living in the bodies of humans, and they had minor versions of each of their powers. It ran for about 3 seasons, and I think it's on Netflix if you want to give it a watch. It's actually really good. Okay. There was... I'm trying to think of what movies and shows were filmed in New Zealand.
Because how long have you been in Australia now, Ethan?
I've been here 7 years this year.
Right, yeah, because Barney, you've been here a lot longer, because, obviously you're older, but you came over quite a while ago. So
yeah, I've been here, almost 21 years.
Oh, there you
go. So you've missed probably some of the stuff that Ethan might have grown up with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no New Zealand version of Gummy Bears or He-Man?
It wasn't until a few years ago where they came out with a kind of New Zealand version of South Park.
Oh yeah, Brotown.
Yeah, Brotown.
It was like Simpsons and South Park kind of thing.
Yeah,
it was all about islanders and Māoris and that. Yeah.
Yep. Very much in the same vein of New Zealand humor, and it was actually really good for the first couple of seasons, and then as all things go, it kind of went down.
Well, you had Hercules and Xena. Those were from New Zealand.
They were.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
they
Were.
Yeah,
you're right. And Spartacus as well, because Sam Raimi loves to film things in New Zealand, and he did those. So you had Xena, Hercules, and you had Spartacus along with that too.
Yep. So that's what I grew up on, was Xena and Hercules.
Yeah.
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 Outrageous Fortune was another big one.
Mate, who didn't want to be Xena? She kicked ass every episode.
All right. Well, any sort of any other memories you want to throw in before we wrap it up?
I just miss the days of just walking into the shops and getting some decent fucking pies and fish and chips rather than the shit I get over here.
Oh, I miss my fish and chips, eh?
Oh, there's a place called Hangi put around the corner from me, and it's fucking good. Just like back home. Comes wrapped up in the newspaper and all.
So you get the proper.
I need the address of this immediately.
There's several across Brisbane. There's one out Springfield Way and one out at Sachs Creek.
All right, well, I know what I'm doing on my 10 days off over the Easter and Anzac break. Oh my god, I needed to know this.
Yeah, Springwood, Oxenford, and Springfield. You get the menu is just like you walk into a takeaway shop back home, and you see the burgers and the hot dogs and the sausages. It's just so good.
Anyway,
we had a bunch of kid shows from New Zealand. None big budget at all, obviously.
Yeah, we had Play School and stuff over here that I grew up with. And then...
we had kind of stuff like that. We one called Susie's World was a big one. What Now was a live one every Sunday morning. They filmed it. And
right.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, nothing that great. You look back on it now, it's kind of shit.
But,
That's why I had Dragon Ball Z in the mornings instead.
I would argue, look, we're doing pretty well down here. Australia's securing a lot of this Marvel stuff and a few other big things.
Yeah.
And then New Zealand's doing, you've got people like Jackson who really put a pin on the map, and now you've got people
definitely.
Like Taika Waititi also coming up the ranks, and for such a small country, it's really getting out there in terms of filmography. It's excellent. So,
definitely,
and it's great because it brings a different sense of humour to the table that you don't get from American films. And
there was actually sorry, Karen, Toby.
No, you're right. I'm just saying I appreciate the change, because it's
yeah.
I find people like Taika's humour just cracks me up. He just Yeah, you just typically don't get that kind of. I think too, because New Zealand people, like Australians, we're happy to take a laugh at ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we're happy to laugh at ourselves, and so watching New Zealand films like What We Do in the Dark, taking the piss. Really, it's of not only vampires, but obviously just of New Zealand life is funny. And I just find it way more humorous than sort of the usual American tropes, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll be back next fortnight. Between now and then, I believe we have the Hellboy film at the cinema.
Yep,
and that
I'll
also
probably
gets
watch it
us
this weekend.
2 weeks closer to Endgame.
The press tour for that has started now, and I've done nothing but watch all the interviews.
I'm pretty much going into media blackout for Endgame.
Yeah,
they're not doing any spoilers though, so that's the good thing is they're not allowed to say anything. So
yeah, I know, but I've sort
the
of
week it comes out is when I'm going silent.
Yeah, I've tried to avoid.
Because they're not showing any movie off the critics until the day before we get it here in Australia.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. But, so we'll be back next fortnight with more news, the new topic of conversation. Obviously, we'll be talking about some Hellboy as well, all going well. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to our Patreon supporters who help make this podcast possible. We appreciate it. And we'll catch you next fortnight. Dun